Here's something that'll scramble your mind, Andrew. Herbert Hoover was once called the Great Humanitarian after saving millions from starvation in Europe. 8 years later, his name became synonymous with poverty and failure. How does someone fall that far, that fast?
That's such a dramatic transformation, Pappy. For someone who started as this incredible success story, orphaned at age 9, self-made millionaire by 40.
You know what's fascinating? Before the crash, this guy had literally never failed at anything. Stanford graduate, pioneering mining engineer in China, food relief coordinator during World War I. He was like the Elon Musk of his time. Everyone thought he had the Midas touch.
Well, until October 29th, 1929, when everything changed.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. Hoover actually did more government intervention than any president before him. The problem was his psychological approach. He was so convinced that optimism alone could fix the economy that he kept telling people prosperity was just around the corner.
While unemployment was hitting, what, 25%?
Exactly. And you know what's really ironic? This is the same guy who had no problem organizing massive government aid for Europeans after World War I. But when it came to helping Americans during the Depression, he just couldn't bring himself to do the same thing.
That's such a strange disconnect. Why do you think he drew that line?
Well, he had this almost religious belief in American individualism. He thought direct government aid would destroy people's self reliance. Meanwhile, people are literally living in shanty towns they're calling Hoovervilles.
And it wasn't just the shanty towns. There were Hoover blankets, newspapers people used to keep warm, Hoover flags, empty pockets turned inside out.
The branding was brutal, but here's what really sealed his fate: the Bonus Army incident in 1932. You've got thousands of World War I veterans marching on Washington, desperate for early payment of their service bonuses. And what does Hoover do?
Oh, right, he sends in the military with tanks and tear gas.
Led by Douglas MacArthur himself, the sight of American troops attacking veterans and their families, that was basically the end of any chance Hoover had at reelection.
You know what's fascinating, though? Many of his policies actually laid the groundwork for FDR's New Deal.
That's right. The Reconstruction Finance Corporation became a model for New Deal programs. And the Hoover Dam, which, fun fact, wasn't even called that during his presidency, was one of the largest public works projects in American history.
So, in a way, he opened the door to government intervention but couldn't bring himself to walk through it.
Exactly. And here's what I find most poignant. He spent the next 3 decades trying to rebuild his reputation through public service, led relief efforts after World War II, chaired government efficiency commissions under Truman and Eisenhower, but he never admitted he was wrong about the Depression.
That level of conviction is both admirable and frustrating.
You know what really gets me? In 1928, right before everything fell apart, he said, "We in America today are nearer to the final triumph over poverty than ever before in the history of any land." Talk about tempting fate.
That quote really captures the tragedy of his presidency, doesn't it?
It does. And maybe that's the real lesson of Herbert Hoover, that sometimes our greatest strengths can become our greatest weaknesses. His confidence and self reliance helped him achieve incredible things, but those same qualities made it impossible for him to adapt when the world changed around him.
So, what you're saying is success in one arena doesn't guarantee success in another.
Exactly. And in times of unprecedented crisis, flexibility might be more important than expertise. Historians have started to be kinder to Hoover in recent years. They're seeing him less as the villain of the Depression and more as a tragic figure, someone who wanted to help but was trapped by his own beliefs.
Well, Pappy, that's certainly a more nuanced view than the simple narrative we usually hear.
Andrew, maybe that's why his story feels so relevant today. It's a reminder that even the most capable people can be undone by rigid thinking in the face of unprecedented challenges. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't knowing what to do, it's being willing to change your mind about what needs to be done.